I am at a point in my life where I'm all over the place, and I'm not like I'm like a master of none, but I know a little bit of everything.
I know that feeling. We can talk. We could go deep into that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know like if there is something that you can help me with or someone I can talk to see where I can take this from here. So basically, I started as a web developer, and then I moved into DevOps, which was not even named DevOps at that point of time. And then I got moved into release management, which is partially DevOps and partially PMO, project management office. And later, I completely started moving into PMO, and then I just right now I'm in more of a product operations kind of role. So I was trying to assess myself a year back to see where I am and what I can do, like what I like to do, and what are the roles out there that will fit what I like to do. And I kind of figured out I like to be in technology and I wanted to be doing project management as well. But I couldn't figure out exactly how to make that happen. I did like 4 to 5 certifications last year, and then I realized that doing certification without a proper goal is not going to take me anywhere. And I
Yeah.
started doing this. So the last thing I was really good at in terms of technology is analytics, especially Tableau. And then I started doing tools which are not like really super interesting for me. The most interesting thing that like last did was Tableau. So I was kind of trying to understand like if I want to move into a program manager kind of role or if I want to transition into something like that. So what would it take and how can I assess myself or push myself toward that path?
Yeah. 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 So I was a master of nothing as well. I think that, and I think it's a great thing from a human behavior perspective, right? Because we all love dabbling in lots of things, right?
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people say, well, look, you know, find your passion or whatever. I think throughout our lives we all can find a lot of different passions, and at each stage of our life our passions and our interests change. You know, I thought I wanted to be a professional skier when I was in my early 20s, right? And now my life has completely changed, and I don't ski that much. I take on new things. You know, I have a 7-year-old son. He shows me things, so we're constantly evolving. And I don't know if we can ever say that there's like that one thing. I mean, there's some people out there that find that one thing. But for the large majority of people, I don't think that's the case. And I think that, and so I'll say this and just take it as a data point here, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are kind of looking for passion in corporate America. They're
Yeah.
looking to find their passion, right? What is it? And I think that's a trap, because we get into the idea that something on the horizon is going to be better. Or if I
Yeah.
could just do this small tweak, I'm going to be happier in my role. And honestly, man, I don't know if I don't know if that's the solution. I think that every job has its frustrations and struggles. It's work, right? And unfortunately, in kind of the university system, and in our childhood, we kind of believe that like the job is going to be this passion thing, and really it's just a pain in the ass a lot of times. And you know, right? Like, do you feel me? Like, it's just every job I've had is a pain in the ass in a certain way. um you know, some people look at me and go like, oh, John is a product manager, and wow, how cool. And I go, yeah, you know, I've had some roles that sucked, and I've had some roles that are cool in certain ways. And right now in my current role, like there's some parts of it that I really enjoy, and some parts that I'm like, oh my God, the politics, right? But I'm under no illusion that if I move to another company, it's going to be different. Like today, my political landscape is, you know, X. But tomorrow, my political landscape may be a different set of people and a totally different challenge. Maybe it's a regulatory problem or
Interesting.
something that I'm just like, oh my God, like, why am I dealing with this? But then I,
Yeah,
but then I reflect back on the reality, like, that's just life. That's
that's
what
true.
I'm dealing with.
That's true.
You know,
So
so you have to at least, I think you have to at least find something you can be moderately interested in corporate America. You have to find some balance, and you have to kind of focus on the positive parts of every job, right? Instead of the negative parts. Like glass is full. I have a job. My boss doesn't abuse me, you know, or like I have weekends. Or like, what are the positives that you have right now? Because I don't think that, you know, whether you switch industries, focus on the things that you have, that you kind of have the energy and the you gravitate towards the most. Like, what's the aspect of every job that you've had across the master of none, right? Where you're like, you know, I just love hanging out with people. Right? I just, you know, I love digging into like these complex, meaty problems. You can do that everywhere, I think.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So in your role today, like if you were to think about ideally, what would you do? Like 5 years from now, where do you want to be? If you had no constraints and you said like, John, I want to be here. And there's no dumb answer. You could literally tell me that, John, you know what I really want is to write a book about cooking and
Sure.
be like on Rachel Ray or something. Like that's not a stupid thing, right? But like you have to listen to your mind. So like, what is that? What is that thing for you?
So since you said there is no constraints, I want to be like someone at the executive position who can drive things, who can make a change, at least something that I can take on a goal that my boss gives me and drive, run with it, make it better. So that's what I wanted to do. Like when I look at things like the things I did, all the things I did is because I wanted to fulfill some goal. It's because not because I wanted to learn the technology, not because I wanted to be in that area or something like that. Mostly it's because there was a goal and I had to do it. I had to do whatever I had to do, learn whatever I have to learn to do it. And that's why I didn't concentrate more on myself, but on the goal itself.
Yeah.
Then I realized, okay, I wasn't thinking about me being a minimum viable product, but I was thinking about the actual goal itself. So that's
Yeah.
why I thought maybe program management or something like that could be a fit for me. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because
Well,
yeah,
there's no wrong answer, right?
yeah.
There really is. There's no wrong answer. Can you drive goals in program management? Absolutely. Can you drive goals in ops? Absolutely. Right? In DevOps? Absolutely. Right? So I guess what for you, I mean, if you could articulate like right now, what are your pain points
My pain points is like building that minimum viable product. Basically, like
of you?
my
Of you.
profile looks, yeah, my
Okay.
profile looks like someone who's all over the place, and
Okay.
I'm not able to build something that I can market, or I'm not exactly sure how I can market myself.
Okay.
So whatever I do, either I go too low or I go too high. I'm not able to set the right standard. This is what I should do, or this is the position I should apply, because the positions also vary between. So I'm looking for a change for a while now, but I'm really not sure like how I should market myself. And I had some mentors in the past who has helped me, but I don't have anyone right now. So
Okay.
I was also thinking about like, would you advise getting a mentor? Because I've seen people skyrocket after talking to a mentor because they get a focus that they did not have before.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so those are the things I wanted to know.
You know, for me, I don't, I kind of, so, so I don't really focus on getting a mentor. Like I've never
Mhm.
really had a mentor. I focus on taking a lot of time outside of work to read, and I focus on researching people who I find extremely interesting. Because the thing is, like, I'm all about time efficiency. So I can take somebody's book that they spent 3 years creating and I can read it in 5 hours, right?
Yeah,
That to
yeah,
me is incredibly valuable. If I sit with somebody for 30 minutes, there's the pleasantries, then there's the conversation, then there's like maybe the one nugget, whereas I can digest a book. So I'm always looking for perspectives outside of mine. And those help me shape where I want to go, how I should be thinking, if I'm thinking incorrectly. And so that might be valuable for you, right? Like find 3 or 4 people who you look up to somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Maybe there's some amazing speech that like somebody at Netflix gave, and you're like, wow, like I want to be like this person. I'm going to dig in more. What are their qualifications? What did they do? How did they speak? What did they read? There's so many people on social media now where you can kind of like pick apart the persona and understand, like, is that a fit for me? And then that gives you an idea, like you've created an avatar of somebody that you want to be, right? And you can kind of drive towards that. So that can help kind of anchor your thinking a little bit. Just picking like 3 to 5 people, or even 1 to 2, right? Just something small to start with. So, I'm going to dedicate like 1 hour an evening reading an interesting article or starting to read a book that I've wanted to read for a while. It just sparks the creative mind. I think, like when I look at your background, you've been with Cognizant, right? Home Depot for 7 years. I'm guessing that a lot of the things that you're doing right now are kind of largely on autopilot,
Yeah, most of them are.
right? So you're kind
Yeah.
of like, man, I'm not even using my mind. I'm just kind of like, like, what am I doing? I'm floating around. I'm getting paid. That's fine. But like, I want to do something that maybe I have to use my brain a little bit. I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly true. That's why I did all those certifications that I wanted to do, and I even signed up for a postgraduate program in
Yeah.
AI. Well, I just thought it may be interesting, but again, something that I learned that I cannot use today on my
Yeah.
day-to-day job
Yeah.
kind of drifts away after a while. So I was not sure if that was the right idea after I signed up, but then I'm still going on with it because I like doing it, but I don't know where to use it or how to use it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, okay. So for anybody who's actually, tuning in and watching this, after the fact, right? I'm looking at your experience and I'm saying, Home Depot, Cognizant, 7 years, 8 months, right? Coming up around 8 years of being kind of in this arena.
right.
Product operations, tooling and instrumentation. You spent 6 years at Travelers, DevOps, software consultation. You went to University of Texas, Austin, School of Business, post grad. Um, Great. So background looks great. When I think about the resume, or when I think about the LinkedIn profile, about me, design strategies for success, inspire a team to work towards a common goal, technology strategies can play and strategize a goal to deliver optimal ROI, manage KPIs, define workflows, but it doesn't really tell me like what you do, right? So it's what you really got to do is you have to own a title. Whatever it might be, you have to own a title. Everything from there ladders down, right? So your title is the title of your book, essentially, right? What chapters are in your book that relate to your title? Right now, I'm not seeing that, right? Like I'm seeing product operations, but I'm not seeing a role. Remember that LinkedIn is the largest search engine for recruiters in the world.
Yeah.
So somebody's going to stumble on your profile, and what are they going to see? They see a light bulb banner that doesn't tell me anything. They see you smiling in a photo. That's nice. But it says product operations, and there are a million different types of roles in product operations and in tooling and instrumentation. It, so what's the job title that you want? And not necessarily like, so you could take the career switch angle, but remember, you're going to deal with the same stuff in a lot of different career paths, right? So what is both the path of least resistance for you, where recruiters can reach out, you know?
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So I think yeah, the analytics is something that is something I'm doing day to day in my
Okay.
work as of today, and on top of it, managing something as well, some things as well. So I was kind of trying to see where these two. I'm not like core analytics. I'm not like core management. Someone who does partially this and partially that. I don't know where these two will merge, and yeah, when I had like a deeper understanding of DevOps, but I'm kind of slowly drifting away from it because I'm more moving into analytics than the operational DevOps side of it. So I was trying to find a fit that will kind of make me whole. I don't
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
No, no. I mean, it totally makes sense. I mean, I think but when you think of the words make me whole, what does that mean to you?
It feels like whenever I pick a role, there are gaps that I couldn't fill.
Yeah.
So if I go into a role that is like a DevOps program manager, there are gaps in management that I couldn't fill. If I go as a lead DevOps engineer, there are gaps in technology that I couldn't fill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like I don't fit 100% into any role, or at least 90-95% into any role. It's either 60 to 70% match. That's how I feel. So that's what I meant, like filling that 30%. Where should I start focusing on filling that 30%? Should it be? Because like doing program management. I did release management for a while and I really liked doing it. I felt like it was something that you could deliver. You could see the value in front of your own eyes rather than delivering some technology which doesn't really go back into the return of investment or something like that.
Yeah.
So I did like doing that. So I thought maybe combining these two could be something like a program manager role is something that could be interesting for me, keep me going.
Yeah. Yeah. I so dig into that feeling about make me whole more, like really like hyper focus on that after our call and kind of reflect on it because I think that most people get into a role and they feel like it's 60 to 70%, no matter what. I really believe that. I'm in a similar position, right? Like there are certain things that I don't know. I don't really like doing. Am I perfect at that extra 10 or 20%? No. And I never will be. And I also don't expect myself to be. Like I'm not looking for the 100% fit because I think that that sets us up for failure,
Sure.
right?
Okay.
There's always this expectation. I'm expecting the 100, but I'm falling short. Why am I falling short? Um, and so, I would encourage you to talk to other friends about the same situation. Like have candid conversations. How are you feeling? Do you feel 60 to 70%? Because I think most people would probably admit to you that they do. You know,
Okay.
on the
Okay.
behind the scenes, I really think that that's the case. Whether some people want to admit it or not, I see it every day when I'm speaking to people on the phone. So
Sure.
know that you're not alone, and be careful with the expectation trap. I'm not saying that. Um, I'm not saying you shouldn't optimize. You should always optimize for your interest and your skills.
Sure.
However, every role is going to have its challenges. But with that being said, right, like you've been on the DevOps side, right? Would moving into another DevOps role at a different company, just away from Cognizant, right? Just would that alone make you feel like, wow, just this fresh start alone could be enough for me to just be really excited?
That will definitely be part of the excitement because yeah, that's a fresh start and yes, that will excite me. But what excites me more is not doing something alone, but delivering something as a group is something that more excites me.
Mm,
I did think about doing DevOps full time, like just sit in your cube, tell your stuff, get the stories, do it. But it did not feel as exciting as working with people and
yeah,
working with the team.
collaboration.
Maybe I'm I'm lazy. I don't know.
I don't think
But
that's the case, man. I
yeah,
think laziness is only related to lack of interest,
sure,
right?
sure.
So once you have interest in something, nobody's lazy.
Sure.
Um,
So that's what I felt more like maybe something that I could drive or run as a team instead of wasting my 8 hours sitting in a queue delivering one story. I could deliver something much bigger
yeah,
that could be helpful for everyone. And I do believe like I have the skills to do it
yeah,
rather than sitting and doing a one I see kind of role. can do something better, something bigger, is what I think, at least, based on what my strengths and weaknesses are around.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so if you were to just like kind of snap judgment, say a job title that you'd be going after today, what would that be? Would it be program manager?
Yes, most likely, yes. That,
Okay.
that that's so program management plus operations, somewhere between that. Like program manager also does operations in many companies.
Yeah.
Uh, so I felt like program manager is a good fit. So sometimes in some companies, program manager feels more like someone who doesn't understand technology, someone who just takes care of project management. But I just didn't want to give that impression. I understand technology, I worked in it. I want to do something bigger.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it as a senior manager or something like that, I want to do it as a program manager who understands both product and IT side of it.
Got it. Got it. So, I mean, that's the angle, right? Like the angle is that you are a technologist who just so happens to also really be interested in data,
Right.
who just so happens to want to be a program manager. Like that
Yep.
narrative makes a lot of sense, but you need to really clarify that narrative on your LinkedIn profile, and
Sure.
you need to clarify that narrative on your resume. And you need to clarify that narrative in the way you speak to people as well. Like you get on a recruiter call, I am this. I'm a program manager. The reason why I'm a program manager is because I love this and this, right? I love driving goals. And by the way, I have these technical skills that I can deliver to the table to understand where the gaps are, how to close the gaps. That's what program management is all about, right? Identify the
Yep.
gap, expose it to leadership, close the gap, bring people together. So narrative makes sense, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
put that title out there and then really think through the resume side of it and really think through the LinkedIn profile on each job title that you've had. What aspect of program management can you pull out from your education, from each role that you've had? Everything has to ladder up to a cohesive story for the recruiter or the hiring manager to look at your profile and within 10 seconds be like, this person through and through, narrative makes sense. And they're going to call you, right?
Sure. Sure.
Technical program manager who loves data analytics, something like that, right?
Sure. That makes sense.
Um, because then you're gonna showcase yourself as a master of something. And you know what? On the side, outside of your day job, be the master of nothing, right? Like dabble, explore, create, do the
That's the problem, right?
whatever. However, from a recruiting angle, be the master of one and do it like perfect because they will find every way possible to look at you and be like, I don't get it. I'm moving on. You don't want that.
Sure. Sure. Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense. Yeah, that's another thing, right? I'm like super curious about something. I start digging deeper, and then I end up doing a certification in that, which I would never use it just to understand how it works, how it can be used by me. I do
yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, being
It,
curious is up to certain extent is good.
yeah, yeah.
Not
I mean, the curiosity, exploration of curiosity is the key to finding some type of passion long term. But
sure, sure,
your goal would be to narrow the focus over time, right?
sure, sure, sure.
Um, but okay, so like stepping back here for a second, if you were to think about a company, like what's the company you want to work for? Do you have a one or two top hits?
Microsoft,
Okay.
Amazon,
Yeah, sure.
Amazon, and Google. These
Okay.
three.
So have you looked at, so let's just take Amazon because I'm over there.
Sure.
What like what program manager like have you identified one or two program management roles where you're like, this is a perfect fit for me? And
Yeah.
looked at the job description.
Sure. Interestingly, I think the most recent one I saw from Microsoft is DevOps and SRE program manager. It was the first time I ever saw some program management just related to DevOps and SRE.
Okay.
Um, so I did like that one. But in general, Amazon's program management is very like more like a templated version. I don't see anything specific that is different from other program management inside Amazon or somewhere else, like generally called program management. But this one in Microsoft was like more closer to both technology and the management point of view.
Okay, that's great. That's great that you identified that. Are there other, and what's the job title? Is it just program manager?
It says DevOps and SRE program manager.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so if that really resonates with you, then now you have a template. Okay, you have a template of job duties description that you can build off of. And now you should also kind of look for that exact role at Amazon or Google or Facebook, whatever these companies are, right? There's tons of tech companies out there, right? Um, find, two or three at Microsoft, find two or three at Amazon, and start comparing and contrasting the job descriptions. Where are the similarities? That then becomes the focus of, okay, I'm going to refactor my LinkedIn profile and my resume so that I touch on these things, because clearly each one of these companies wants this stuff. And then that's what the recruiters are going to be looking for, right? So that's an angle that you can take.
Sure, sure. I'm gonna start doing that. But in general, you don't recommend any mentors or anyone that I should work with, like, because I did feel like so I had some mentors during some point of time. Mentors meaning literally people who work with me, who had the heart to spend extra time with me and explain to me what I'm doing wrong. I
Yeah.
really don't have any of those people right now. There are some who does it, but even they are dragged up in their own stuff, so I don't want
I know everybody is.
to too much. So I was just trying to understand, like, if I want to talk to someone and have them validate whether whatever I'm doing is right or wrong, maybe a mock interview or something like that. So
Yeah.
what is your normal approach? Like when you're going to an interview, I want to do mock interviews before I do that. So
Yeah.
who do you normally go to?
Yeah. So I mean, there are plenty of people who kind of specialize in those things, but they charge for it, right? Like like
That's true. That's
there's plenty of people that would be happy to speak to you for $300 an hour, whatever, right? So I would love to help you. The biggest issue that I have is that I day job, YouTube channel, LinkedIn.
I know, I know. No, I'm not gonna force you to do it.
No, and I wish
I'm
I
just
could.
asking.
No, I
Yeah,
wish I could, because I truly love doing it, and I do it for free, and I just love helping people with this stuff. Like this is what brings me joy. So, um, I think that um, it's tough to find people to help with these kind of like mock interviews or what have you. What I would probably suggest is um, finding somebody who's in maybe your close working circle, maybe you've talked to, or a friend
sure.
or something like that, right? Who is also of the mindset, like, I got to get out, I got to make a change, and say, you know what, like, let's team up and let's mock interview together. Like, let's pair up and let's help each other on these topics, because the interviews themselves are not they're not they're not a secret, really. I mean, at the end of the day, all these companies want to know is, what did you achieve? Can you articulate your achievement succinctly? Are you a good speaker?
Mhm.
And how does that achievement relate to what we're doing as a company? Right? If you tell the narrative of, like, this achievement fits here in your building blocks, this one fits here, I'm a perfect fit, I'm going to be able to deliver tomorrow, like, no contest, you should hire me. Like, that's kind of how you have to sell it, right? And that takes practice, right? So your resume is the gateway to the stories and how succinct they're going to be told. So, so I would focus on, like, title first, get the narrative packaged really well. What did I achieve? What did I achieve? What did I achieve? As your bullet points. Like, don't make your resume super long. Make it one page, not for anyone else's sake, but just for your sake, to be able to communicate your value as quick as physically possible. You
Sure.
don't want a recruiter looking at one random bullet point from a job you did 7 years ago, and they go, tell me more about this. And you're like, oh my God, I don't remember. And you got to make up some BS, right? You don't want that. You want,
That's true.
I'm proud of this. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And then that's how you speak to the recruiter when they ask you, what did you achieve? And you go, boom, here it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So going, circling back to the narrative about working with somebody like a buddy, you know,
Yeah.
who has similar goals. That's the kind of interaction that you two should have with each other.
Sure. Sure.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it'll save you some money, probably. I mean, you know,
Not some a lot. I already spent a couple of hundred on this, but
yeah,
then I didn't feel like it worked because it feels like they're trying to get information, which is what they should do. Like they're trying to get information out of me and then validating what I said, which is a kind of not helping most of the time.
yeah,
So yeah,
right,
that maybe someone like you may know like um, okay, yeah, but this makes sense. Yeah,
yeah,
those are the buddies that are helping me today, but I don't want to push them too much. So I thought maybe I should hire some professional help who has done this before, especially in this space, program management. I know you are in product management, so pretty much close. You
yeah.
might know someone who can help or something like that, but it's okay.
Or or if you find, you know, or if you find like a YouTuber from Amazon or Microsoft who is a program manager, look at how they speak and dissect every one of their videos, right?
Yeah,
Because if they have
yeah,
50 videos on there, that's 50 videos times 5 minutes a piece. And if you were to think about like they're literally just speaking to you on their video, like they're just disseminating their knowledge for
that is
free,
true. That
and
is true.
just soak it all in. Watch every video 100 times. Become a master of the topic, and you know it all winds up coming down to how much time you spend. You know,
Sure, sure. That makes a lot of sense.
so.
Thanks, Dan. I think we are up on time. I hope I'm not taking your
Oh no, that
just
no, no,
saying
no,
like,
no, it's cool. Do you have another question?
no, no, I mean, I'm pretty good. I just wanted to talk about these three stuff, and
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I
And
mean, as you kind of go about your journey, ping me on LinkedIn, you know, and if you have a question here or there and say like, yeah, I might kind of go in the right direction or what have you. I don't think there's any wrong direction, you know, as
sure.
far as like what role type you select. um, but strategic questions about your resume, about your narrative, your LinkedIn profile, whatever it might be. But definitely start with all these core things, and just don't get overwhelmed with like, oh my God, I got to refactor all these things at once. Like tomorrow, just change your job title in your LinkedIn profile.
Sure.
One thing, 5 minutes. The next day, I have 10 minutes here. I'm gonna just like change the first three sentences of my about section, you know, and then kind of build on it, and then
And I
it'll.
should have started with this, but I'm going to maybe end with this. Like, thanks for all the things that you do, and your videos are really awesome. And that's
Thanks,
when
man.
I started to think maybe I should ping him and ask him for help.
Yeah,
Maybe it's gonna help me somehow. And you did.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Keeping it.
Happy.
All the best for your efforts as well.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
And good luck to you, man. You're gonna crush it. Just I think you just got to get out of the hamster wheel of your current role, you know, and kind of venture out a little bit and start to kind of see a little new perspective. And you're gonna just that alone will make you feel so much better just to have the switch and change of scenery.